Good morning. My name is Mariam Kalkatechi, and I'm doing a presentation for the experimental design rethinking relations between people, objects, and environments. My paper is called An Erudite Design Process to Incorporating 3D Printing in Construction. It is to define a new design process. Introduction. In our era, parametric design, scientific analysis, and digital fabrication is becoming dominant. The main emphasis is on the concept development. The erudite design process enhances the process by applying the 3D printing in the process. The goal is to achieve a holistic concept at early stage in design. The application of design concepts is mainly to be incorporated in algorithms to develop data sketches. Emphasis. This is the diagram which shows the design process, all of the design processes which are going to be introduced in this presentation. These processes include the traditional design process, the BIM process, and the erudite design process. The main emphasis of the erudite design process is to involve the designer from the start. The role of the materials is very important. The sketching is done on algorithm inputs. The process includes from moving from hand sketch to digital platform and from digital platform to physical building models. Now to explain the traditional process. The diagram shows the points which are included in the traditional process. The architect is a dominant figure in the traditional design process. The hand drawings and sketches by the architect is unique and specific to individual architects. They are not readable by everybody, which is a positive point for the architect. It results in natural differences in qualities of the built projects. The value of the work was kept consistently during the process. The disadvantages which were present in the traditional process include speed and lack of team collaboration. Now, the more modern process is the BIM process, which has actually been incorporating in our era. The diagram shows the steps and points in the BIM process. There's a strong environment for team collaboration. Another advantage of the BIM process is the ease and speed of producing documents and construction documents. The dominance of better thinking was actualized at the initial steps in the design process. The emphasis is more on collecting real data rather than generating novel ideas. In the diagram, the orange line indicates the BIM process, which remains mainly in the digital platform. By remaining mainly in the digital platform, the architect leans on the limitations of the tool and eventually becomes dependent on what the tool is offering rather than using his or her original thoughts within the hand sketches. The proposed design process is the erudite design process. The diagram shows the steps and points in this design process. This design process educates the digital platform. It keeps the experimental platform throughout the process. The sketches and the scaled prototypes create a dialogue between the algorithms and modified versions. In fact, there is a continuous collaboration between hand sketches and the digital platform. The novelty of construction ideas is present at the initial steps, and the emphasis is more on creating novel and original ideas rather than depending on what the tool has to offer. The role of the material in this process. The diagram shows the role of the material in all design processes, whether it's traditional, the BIM process, and the proposed process. The goal is to communicate the material throughout the process. In the traditional process, material was carefully studied by the architect. The 3D prints which are present by the client are used for their visual desire and material choice. In the erudite design process, there's a requirement for a strong language of material which can communicate between the architect and the client. The example of implementing this design process is present here. This process was implemented in the 3D printed construction unit. The workflow is shown on the left. Several independent case studies were carried out through the research. Explanation of the process. The data sketches include data of layers within a traditional brick wall systems. These data were used as input for algorithm and definition of a paradigm for a parametric cavity space. The snap elements were horizontal connections and projected elements for friction were used as the variables of the length. The least thickness of veneer was printed.